Welcome back to another Random Bits. In this one I'm just going to quickly show you how you can use Blender files directly in Unity. So what I have here is Unity 2019.4.4, one of the LTS versions of Unity, and I have Blender 2.8.3, also an LTS version of Blender. So what we're going to do is just going to create a new model in Blender. So fire up Blender, select General. We're going to get the default scene, which has a camera and a light. We can select those and delete them. Then we have our cube, and all we need to do is save this where Unity can see it. So if we switch to Unity, we have a empty 3D project with an empty scene in it. If we right click on the assets folder and select show in Explorer, it will open up Windows Explorer and show you your assets folder, and we can just copy that path, and in Blender we can go File, Save. We can select the path at the top here. There we are. And in the models folder, I'm going to select it there, which is a folder I've created within my Blender project, and I'm going to call this CubeMan and save the file. Alright, and if we jump through into Blender, you can see Blender will kick off something in the background. If we look in our models folder, we now have a CubeMan model imported, and we can drop that into our scene and we have our cube. Now the nice thing about this is, for instance, if we jump back into Blender and we say edit this model, and we grab a face and maybe inset it and then extrude it, save again. When we jump back to Blender, it will re-import the model and automatically update it. So that's the basics. The model or Unity will also import things like materials and bones for your model. So I can quickly demonstrate that for you. So we jump back into Blender. Let's undo those changes we made there, and let's create a little box character here that we can add materials to and colorize. So the character we're going to create is kind of going to be like a box shaped Pac-Man character. So the first thing we want to do is chop the cube in half to kind of make a mouth. So what we're going to do is jump to the side view, select everything, grab Z1 just to bring the base onto the baseline. Then switch into face mode, select all of those, go grab Z and then hold down the control button to snap. That looks good. And then we're going to select all, shift D to duplicate, and then grab Z and control to things. And now we've got two little halves, so we can have two parts of a mouth. And now we want to add some eyeball or some eyes, so let's add a new UV sphere. We're going to set it to a bit more low poly, so 8 segments and 8 rings. And then we're going to rotate it around the x-axis by 90 degrees, and that's so we can get these little bits in front as kind of the eyeball. So let's grab that, bring it forward on the y-axis, and grab it on the z-axis, and scale it down. Grab it on the z. There we are. And I think I will grab on the x-axis by 0.25. Maybe 0.5. All right. And then we're going to Shift D to duplicate that. Try that again. Shift D to duplicate right there. And then grab X by -1. All right. And now we have kind of a symmetrical face. Oh, it's popping out the side slightly. Let's just select that one and this one and scale them a little so they're no longer sticking out the side. Excellent. And then we also want to go to mesh and face and shade smooth so that they look a bit more like eyeballs. All right. And then finally, let's select, back in the edit mode, let's select this part and this part and press an L to do an island select. Double A so it selects nothing. Island select, and press Control B and give it a slight bevel. All right, let's save that. Jump back to Unity. And we can see we've got our little dude. All right, so let's give it some materials now. So back in Blender, let's select those two areas there, and we will go to materials, and we're going to rename this material body, and we're going to assign it to these ones. So you can assign different materials to different faces, and we're going to make this one say a yellowish color. And we can go to the shaded mode so we can see that. Let's select the eyes and create a new material. And we're just going to call this eye material and make it kind of black and assign. And then the last bit we want to do is we just want to assign some materials to the bit in the middle there to act as pupils. So with face selected, we can shift, click these, select the bits for the pupil, create a new material, and we're going to call this pupil, and leave it white and assign. All right, so there's our little man, our little cube man. Once again, save that, and if we jump across to Unity, we see it will import. And it may or may not import the colors, but that's okay, because what we'll do now is if we click on Cube Man, and when you select it in the project, you'll see the import settings. So these are all the default settings, and you can fiddle with some of these, and you can see we'll also import the rig, which we'll cover a little later, as well as the animation and the materials. And we can see that we are missing some materials here. So if I just set these to none to start with, apply, it will load in the default materials. But what we can do is we can create new materials within Unity and assign that, and then we can create control exactly how they look within Unity. So firstly, let's create a material called body matte, and we can give it a orangey, yellowy, maybe a bright yellow color. Yep, bright yellow. And maybe make it a little smooth, a little shiny, maybe a little metallic. Nah, let's just make it a little like that, a little hint of shiny to that. Create another material. Eye matte, and make that a dark color. Once again, maybe give it a little bit of shine. And the last material we can create for the pupil, and leave it as white. Excellent. And now if we go back to the import settings, and on the materials thing option there, we can drag these materials in. So grab the bottom body matte, the eye matte, and the pupil mat and hit apply. Cool. And now we can control the colors within Unity. All right, now the other thing that we have here is the rig. So you can import any animations that you create within Blender, and you can create any rigs or bones that you create within Blender. You can import those with your model and then manipulate them within Unity. So I'll show you how to do that now. So back in Blender, we're just going to rename our main model to Cube Man. And then what we're going to do is we're going to, now we're in object mode, go add a new armature. Alrighty. And we need to make a tweak to the settings here so we can just make it easier to see the bones. So if you click that in front option under that, click in front, and we'll be able to see the bones there. So we can press tab to go into edit mode, 3 to side view. Let us rotate that bone around X by 90 degrees, just so that it's facing forward and in the center at the start. And then we wish to extrude to create a new bone. And you'll see the bones being created over here. So if we select that bone we've just created, what we want to do is pick on the bone icon, relationships, and say that it is not connected. That allows us to grab this bone and reposition it, not attached to the tip of this bone. So we're going to rotate around X by 90 degrees. We're going to scale it up a bit, grab it, so just there, maybe rotate it a little bit more. So it's horizontal, scale it down a little, and grab and position it over there. Excellent. And let's also rename these bones. So we're going to call this one root and this one mouth. All right, and we can jump out of edit mode. So we've got the bones there. Now we need to attach the armature to the cube. So we select both, oops, select both and press Control P, the other way around, always get that wrong. Select the cube man first, then the armature, and press Control P. And we want to do this with empty groups. And then we can, you'll see that your cube man is now under the armature. So if we click on that and we're in edit mode now, what we need to do is assign various parts of the mesh to the bones so that we can control the movement of the mesh with the bones. So we're going to grab this lower half here, and we want to assign it to the root bone. And so if we look under the vertex groups, it will Blender will have created some vertex groups for us when we did the parent. So we want to pick the root bone and press assign, and then we want to select the top half and the 2 eyeballs, and select mouth and assign. Now if we jump out into select the armature and pick pose mode, we can grab that bone and say rotate around X, and we can open and close the mouth. Although I seem to have missed some pieces there because the eyeballs are a little wandering, but easy enough to fix. So what we need to do is select our cube again. All right, fix that. So the issue was I had accidentally parented some of the pupils to the root bone, which is obviously not what we want. Right, now if we save that and we jump through into Unity, we'll see that it's now imported the cube man. You'll notice that it will rotate weirdly, and that's because we've set a root bone. So if we just set that back to 0, we should be good. And now if you actually open up the little cube man, you'll see we've got our root and our mouth bones. So if we grab the mouth bone and grab rotation around there, we can now actually animate it within Unity. Okay, that's about all I wanted to cover in this video. If you liked the video, remember to hit the like button. Please subscribe so you can see more videos like this. If you'd like to encourage me to create more videos, then please join my Patreon page. And this project will be available to my patrons for download from the Patreon page. Thank you for watching.